forward to the next session. So next in line is the plenary speech of today's program, which will be delivered by Dr. TUHIN Roy from Khulna University, Bangladesh. His speech title is Risk Perceptions and Responses of COVID-19, a Rural Scenario of Bangladesh. So before moving on to this page, let me introduce who actually Dr. TUHIN Roy is. Dr. TUHIN Roy completed his PhD degree from the Institute of Disaster Management and Vulnerability Studies and obtained his undergraduate and graduate degree in sociology from University of Dhaka, Bangladesh. In 2009, he joined as a lecturer of sociology discipline of Khulna University. And presently, Dr. Roy is working as an associate professor of the same discipline and teaching a variety of courses there. Before joining Khulna University, he was a part-time faculty member of Department of Sanskrit University of Dhaka. And in addition, he was also a research associate of Banglapedia, which is the National Encyclopedia of Bangladesh of the Asiatic Society of Bangladesh. Recently, Dr. Roy's publications can be identified in the areas of development, disaster management, environmental policies, coastal health risk management, and the vulnerable groups and their livelihoods. He has published 6 books and 25 research articles from the national and international journals. In 2018, he received overall Best Presentation Award and the Session Best Award in IVCSS conference, which was held in Colombo, Sri Lanka. And also, he writes popular articles in Bengali national dailies on various contemporary social issues. So he has been with us from a long time. And Dr. Roy, this is time for you to deliver your speech. Thank you so much.
So good morning, everybody. I think everybody is well now through these pandemic situations. Honorable Chair, respected keynote speaker, my dear Ishanka Gomez and his team, and respected presenters today. So welcome to this session, everybody. Good evening again. I think already we have spent many times. Professor Deepak, the keynote speaker today, he spoke very rightly. Actually, the combinations of social science and humanities. And now I'm going to, discuss my thinking, especially the pandemic situations, COVID-19 hostile situation, especially we can find in Bangladesh, especially the rural area. So I think we are passing very much difficult times, everybody. To expect a good time in future. Beginning of my speech, I may just talk about the statement Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the ex-president of Bangladesh and father of the nations of Bangladesh. Especially his statements was, the world is divided into 2 halves, the oppressed and the oppressors. I am with the oppressed. That's a very good statement, I think. But before going to discuss about my theme, I'd like to say, yes, the worlds are divided into 2 parts. One part leaving the oppressed groups and another part leaving the oppressors groups. So interestingly, it's said that now today, I think oppressed and oppressors are the same groups throughout this pandemic situation. That is interesting. I can say that the king and the general people or the ordinary people of a society, they're just living through the same conditions. They have no any differentiations. Who is king or who is, the ordinary people? They have been suffering the same problems. That is, in fact, we can say that is the impact of COVID-19. So why I have chosen this topic is very much contemporary topics, and I have chosen this only because that interestingly, I am talking about the oppressed groups, the vulnerable groups, or the rural groups of Bangladesh. Yes, my title or topic that is in fact the risk perceptions and the responses of COVID-19 are world scenario of Bangladesh. And in fact, this is Dr. TUHIN from Bangladesh already as announced, and I'm speaking about the risk perceptions and responses of COVID-19. So what's in fact the present situations of Bangladesh? You know that recently a deadly virus known as novel coronavirus has kept all people's attention from all over the world. And considering its global spread and deadly consequences, on 11th March 2020, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 as a pandemic. And this is in fact not for the Bangladesh situation, also throughout the world. On March 11, 2020, that is in fact is declared by the WHO, that is World Health Organizations declared as a pandemic. And you know that already we have just heard the discussions, very much pretty discussions of we heard the last keynote speaker was talking about the social science and humanities. That's a very good combinations, I think. And today I'll talk about in that perspective also. I'm talking now the human action. Yes, human action is important, and how this human action influenced. That I may tell that it influenced by the perceptions and the belief patterns of that particular area. And simply, if we would like to concentrate on the control of the health threats of that particular area, different people, especially the common people or the ordinary people, they are not specialized in any particular area. Respond in different ways according to their socio-demographic characteristics. Yes, definitely, if you would like to consider the particular area or ordinary people of that particular area, definitely should concentrate on their socio-economic gesture, their perceptions, their belief patterns will come together, no doubt. Generally, these perceptions and responses vary from person to person and place to place, country to country, no doubt. Although to combat with novel coronavirus pandemic, different nations have adopted different policies. All people are not acting similarly according to it. Yes, that is absolutely true in everybody, and I think this has been happening throughout the world. So each and every country's special focus area or attention was different throughout. Say for example, our country has given some specialized attentions for the tackle of the situations, and side by side, and the other countries also they have some sort of different thinking to tackle the situations also. So what's my in fact is my ongoing research work is in fact the main aim of my paper is to know the rural people's perceptions and the responses of the coronavirus pandemic in Bangladesh. In fact, what type of responses or perceptions perceived by the peoples of rural people of my Bangladesh. That is in fact I go in my paper. Here you get that in Bangladesh the first coronavirus cases was reported on 7 March 2020. Like other countries, to combat these situations, the government of Bangladesh has taken various measures such as banning public gathering, institutional and home quarantine, shutting down offices and markets, and social distancing. And I think not for Bangladesh also, it's the common thinking of the world also. All the countries they have just banned their public gatherings, institutional and home quarantine, shutting down offices and markets, and definitely they maintain the social distances. But interestingly, our country is doing that, and they have some sort of positive things here that now we are a little bit a good positions rather than the previous one. And these situations this time we are in good rather than the previous time. But very much unfortunately, the rural people they don't have clear attentions from the other groups also. So that's why I am very much interested to do some works with the positions of rural people. So by the 16th of March, the government has shut down all educational institutions and banned all cultural and religious programs. That was surely or strictly, maintained by the governments, our governments. Later, the government announced public holiday from 26th March to now today, and to control public movement, it restricted public and private transport. However, medical shops, grocery shops, and other emergency services are allowed to operate. The daily essentials or the daily main things or important things they are allowed today, because it is in fact very much necessary for all the peoples. And by the July 30, 2020, Bangladesh about 2,34,889 coronavirus active cases and 3,083 days have been identified. About all lakhs 32,960 cases have been recovered. That is in fact the statistics of my present pandemic situations of Bangladesh. And I think this situation is going degrading day by day. So to get vivid information, this study adopted an exploratory qualitative approach. 6 in-depth interviews were conducted in Koilashganj of Dakop, Upazila of Bangladesh. Besides, an observatory node also developed to gain support from primary data. And open-ended and loosely structured interview guide was used to elicit responses from the participants. The guide covered key areas such as personal views on the coronavirus, sources of knowledge, understanding and fear of transmission, behaviors relating to hygienic, social distancing, personal protections, and so on. So what's my findings? In fact, already I have told you that it's in fact the ongoing research. So some findings already I have had. The findings of this study present that the lack of knowledge and the information rural people are not considering coronavirus pandemic as a serious problem. Yes, you know that the lots of people are living in the rural areas, but the government should concentrate very much importantly the perceptions and the responses of the rural people. That is very much necessary. And I think later on the government will take more focus on that particular people's perceptions. Most of the respondents knew that this virus spread not only through the droplets of the infected people, but also by direct contact, that means touching of the infected people. A few respondents also believed coronavirus can spread through air. You know that already those who are very much conscious persons, not for the rural people or the unconscious people or the marginal people, also the conscious people, they don't have the clear idea, you know, to some extent, you know, that some confusions about the declarations of the WHO or World Health Organization, or the conscious people. Actually, it has been, that is, corona has been contaminated by or through air or not. We are not clear to some extent. It doesn't give the clear idea also. So the general people or the marginal people or the rural people, they also think like this way. They are not conscious about this. And on this point, respondents say that I believe it can spread through air. Otherwise, how a man becomes infected while he remains in quarantine? That is in fact a response from the respondents of my study. It told that I believe it can spread through air. Otherwise, how a man becomes infected while he remains in quarantine? That is a good thinking also. When the people becomes in quarantine, so how he will be infected? Already the result in other research, I found that sometimes throughout staying in quarantine time, they become contaminated, uh, you know, uh, contaminated, COVID-19. So how it is possible? So that's a very good questions, I think. Now, another thinking, it seems to them it was an elite virus. Yes, sometimes the rural people think that yes, it is in fact the elite virus, and this virus will be just contaminated for the people of elite people or the rich people, uh, which affects only the urban as well as rich people, and therefore they may not be a victim. This is in fact their perception to think that yes, this is only for the problem problem for the elite. Okay. So as a result, several risk behavior like ignoring social distancing while young people playing on the field and old adults continuing their regular chatting on the local tea stalls. Yes, when I just talk with the people, young people of rural area or village area, they don't care about this. They don't maintain the distancing. They're just going one place to another without any hesitation. They're mixing with their friends. They're talking about their friends. They're mixing with their friends. They're going, uh, you know, they're going to field for the playing football or any other games. So I think they're not, the rural young people are not here about this. That is a problem, I think. And side by side, the adults people, they're just going and chatting with tea stalls, because this is in fact the regular thinking or regular habits. In fact, if they don't go to the tea stall, they don't feel better. That is their perceptions. In fact, another quotations which I am going to tell you, that the vicious 50 farmer, he told that we male villagers are not going outside of the village. However, we have to go to the field, take care of our cattle and wash our farmland and crops. And then we have to go to our village market to buy food and groceries. As we are doing everything within our village area, I think it's equal to staying home. Yes, that is in fact the real scenario of the rural Bangladesh. As it is said that the people of rural area, they will not go outside of the home, but the present scenario is as it is said, but they're bound to go outside of the home, because the daily necessary essentials, they have to go outside, especially the village market, and the lots of people they gathered there, and they have to collect the food and other groceries also. So I think strictly it has not been maintained for the people of rural area. That is a problem, and it's also said by Vishwas 50 farmer. Another thing is important, that another quotations, that we have forgotten the path of God and have got involved in unethical activities. Thus, God has given these situations as a punishment and control our behavior. It's said by the another respondents. That is in fact already Professor Deepak told that. Yes, first we are talking about the social scientists and the human scientists. These things are regularly important for our daily life. Rural people mostly they are devoted to God, and their perceptions that yes, if the people don't pray regularly, if the people don't pray to God, and if the people do unethical gestures or works, and that's why I think that it's the you know punishment of God, they think, and that's why they just told that yes, we have forgotten the path of God and have got involved in unethical activities, and thus God has given these situations as a punishment and control our behavior. That is in fact the beliefs or perceptions of the world people. Yes, that is in fact the pictures which you see here. In fact, it's a sub-district places, but this sub-district places you can find that the crowd, that is in fact the village area, but some sub-district places to some extent. We can tell it, and side by side it also observed that most of the people in rural areas don't use mask in a proper manner. That it is compulsory, but it has not been practiced for their daily life. People are not commonly use the masks, and that is a problem for the contaminations, I think. Side by side, some risk perceptions leading them to engage in conflicting behavior. For example, one of the villagers prohibited their neighbor to use their pond, while this pond was a common source of water for daily uses. Such behavior degrading social relationships among the village neighborhood. Yes, one thing, that the rural area, they just, the general people use a common pond, but throughout this pandemic situations, it's a very problem for the common people. The authority of the pond, he doesn't get the access of the common people, and that's why they have been suffering for the scarcity of drinking water. So in that perspective, I can tell you that they have created some sort of conflict, and it is in fact creates some ill socializations environment, and that's why they have to face some difficulties aftermath of the coronavirus or COVID-19, because they're living at the same places, but by this time or throughout the situations of this time, the common people don't get this access. So that is a critical issue also, I think. In line with risk behavior, the influence of social media gives some misconceptions among the rural areas about quarantine and such news. I think social media must be come forward, and they should clear the message of the all respective of all classes, you know, race, poor, irrespective of class, caste, and many other things. I think the social media should play some very much important role for the betterment of the society. For instance, simply I can tell you, the son of Anwar, age 55, in a village, came from the Gazipur. You know that the Gazipur is a city of the coronavirus hotspot near Bangladesh capital Dhaka, and in that place, Anwar came at their house, but he was not coronavirus positive. But the community people forced him to live isolated for 14 days, far away from his family as well as at his community. And they made a contemporary hut with little facilities beside a mill, that is a some places. And he was there even during the super cyclone Amphan, which struck the study sites very much, very uh, quick quick response, or very much devastating response happened in that particular area. But none of the community people were allowed to go there except for delivering food. That is very much unfortunate. This Anwar was not the contaminated, but the people, rural people, they are not allowed him uh, at his home. And he has to live outside of the home 14 days. Also, he has to live during the super cyclone Amphan. So that is what I say as a sociologist. Yes, it's a very much critical situation. It's a very much problem. These people is not, you know, contaminated, but he has to live. Yes, 14 days is good. That's very good, but he's not the contaminated. So why he has to live there? So such kind of incidents are happening in rural area of Bangladesh. So that is, I think, problem. Likewise, some people consider that smoking may kill the coronavirus. Yes, that is their perceptions. Why they think that the coronavirus smoking will help them is unexpected, but they believe that. One quotations I may tell it, that is the Kausar 40 farmer. He told me, a quote, "It's my habit to smoke, and thus I can't change it. After all, I have heard that coronavirus can't sustain in what environment. Therefore, when smoking, you take in hot air in the throat, and thus it reduces the probability of the coronavirus infections." That is, in fact, the perceptions of the cows, and not for cows, also the other people, rural people. They're thinking like this way. They believe that definitely smoking will help them, because their throat will get some sort of what, and they think, or the cow thinks that yes, this what will create some, create health, you know, for not to be contaminated the coronavirus. So that is in fact that thinking, the rural people's perceptions. Another thing that the findings of our study indicate that the Lockdown helped most of the respondents to increase family bonding, improve family relationships, and psychological well-being. Yes, that's true to some extent. How it is happening that during this crisis or during this corona time, the rural people, those uh, you know are engaged in jobs, they just lost their job, especially the rural people, those who are very much low income member. They don't get the a regular basis salary, and that's why they're just living at their house. And I think they get some time to be communicated with their children, their parents, and other members, and they have some sort of good relationships in that time. That is also true, and they just increase their family bonding, and they have increased their family relationship. That's true. But side by side, it also true that it creates some problem also when the rural people don't have proper food, proper support from the government or other, you know, NGOs or INGOs. I think in that time the people create some sort of problems. They just create some angriness. They just create some unhappiness in their family also. That food is very much important for everybody's life, but if you don't have food for food, what will happen? The rural people, they just maximum people they are on daily basis, or the daily laborers, rickshaw puller, or daily they just go to the field and earn something else. They sometimes they go to the outside of their villages for earnings, but this time they don't have the opportunity. So that's why it creates some problems also, psychological problems also. So two sides I can get from here. One is, yes, some people get more time to spend with their family. That's a very good sign. Side by side, yes, the people those who don't have proper food or supports in that time, they feel some sort of scarcity, and they create some angriness or some unhealthy manner, and it creates some problems for the family also. However, unlike other studies, this study identified especially the common people's perceptions which may lead people to increase the transmission of coronavirus at the community level. Yes, there's important things, I think. Throughout when my study will be completed, I think I'll give a good recommendations from the social science perspective. But instantly, this is an ongoing research, so I don't want to give more concrete decisions. But I think this is in fact the rural scenario of Bangladesh, and the government should take more concentrations of people, both for the people of rural area and the urban area, because all the peoples are living the same way. From the very beginning of my speech, I told that yes, there is no differentiation here. All the people are living the same crisis. The president and the general people, they have been suffering the same problems, the pandemic situations, same threats. So everybody will be equally treated. That is in fact the expectations. And I think my government will focus on very much strictly for the people of rural people as well as the other people, because commoners, there is no differentiations, the commoners and the rich people, and everybody is equally here. So I have wanted to tell a little bit discussions about their livelihood pattern, actually what's their perceptions, what their behavior, what's their beliefs, what they're thinking now, especially the vulnerable people or the rural people of Bangladesh. So I may suggest, would like to emphasize knowing common people's perceptions and responses to formulate a new policy as well. I think the government should concentrate more the common people's perceptions. So this is in fact end of my lectures. So thank everybody. Thank you very much to give this can give this opportunity, and I think thanks a lot everybody. We'll expect a good futures near. So thank you everybody.
TIIKM, the International Institute of Knowledge Management.